Today is International Nurses Day, and we come to you from the Gleneagles Global Health City in Chennai. And with me, a group of nurses. Congratulations, happy Nurses Day, and hats off to your service, your sacrifice from the front line. If we can begin with you, Sharon. You're newly married. How has life been over the last 1 year, attending or working or fighting the pandemic?
Pandemic is new to the whole world, and everybody was actually initially very panicky about the situation. So likewise, even we nurses or even the healthcare workers for that matter was really scared of the situation, but we can't show it to the patients because they believe in us and they come to us. So yeah, we gathered our courage to be as a frontline warriors, because they get courage from us. And I see most of the patients whom we motivate and whom we encourage have got much better and have left us very well. But now coming to the second wave, we see a lot of younger patients getting affected, which in turns put a lot of pressure on the healthcare workers. And being a nurse who's 24/7 with a patient is taking a toll over us. It's affecting our mental emotions, our status. It's very much pressurizing us, but we still take a stand to overcome that because we believe the patient believes in us and trusts in us, and we'll have to be the one supporting them at whatever situation we are in. So that is what we are showing as the nurses in the front line, being with the patient 24/7. I think that should be for all the nurses, and I think overall all over the world every nurses are holding that same courage and they are motivated. Self motivation, I think, is one best thing that's carrying over through this pandemic.
Did you get married amid the pandemic?
Yeah, I got married in the month of December, and yes, the family insisted me to be with them for much more longer time, but my work situation made me come back because I want to fight the battle together. As being the healthcare worker, I want to fight the battle. So yeah, it was very difficult for me to convince my family, but yes, they were in turn very supportive to me to send me back to work because they were also scared seeing the number of infective cases, number of deaths. I think they were also scared, but they were very supportive to me to come back. They sent me back to work, and I'm now able to help many of them, to touch many lives. So I think that makes a point.
Right. And you've been away from home for as long as 6 months. Tell us about that.
Yes, I'm not gonna be 6 months ago because I'm also worried and my parents also getting worried. But my management is, and the nursing team has support us and encourage us. This is the pandemic situation. Then you have to care about the patient, and then my parents also getting worried. Then after the second wave, vaccinated us came, the nursing team, and then Dr. Clara has encouraged us taking the vaccine, and then my parents are okay, my daughter is safe because she's taking us vaccine. The management also taking care of us. Then they are very supportive, and then
Did your family ever ask you to get back home?
yeah, they are asking, but even though they are asking, I'm saying my management is taking care. They are providing us a good healthy food, and they are taking care of us. So don't worried about us. I'm supporting, and then I'm explaining to my parents.
Right. Nurses, when it comes to treating COVID patients, you also become a kind of a bridge between the patients and the family, since family members cannot meet them. What kind of, can you share any touching experience you may have had?
Yeah, the thing is, nurses are being a bridge between the patients because they're all alone in ICUs and the units because they can't meet their family. Of course, during the usually during a sick, when a person is sick, they want their family around because that just has emotional support. But that support is not there during the COVID unit. We be there as a bridge between the patients and the family. We assure them, giving emotional support, and then also we make the patient have video call connect with the family, and ensure encourage the family members to be with the patient. And sometimes the patients will be very worried and sick, and the family members also will think what will happen the next day. They might not see him or her next day, but yet we assure them, yes, he is recovering. He is able to cope up with us. So just be there, be confident, and we tell them that it's okay to be scared, but still have hope, have confidence in us.
Right.
So that's what is going on.
And you face both situations.
Yes.
Patients recovering well, bouncing back to life. There are people who may not make it.
Yes.
How do you handle these two?
The people who are bouncing back, it is such a challenge for us. Sometimes they might deteriorate very fast, but because of all the efforts and we put into to the patient care, even a slightest recovery is such a joy for us. And when they get discharged, when they go home, and that gives us that's an emotional moment for us, because all of us come together and send the patient home. But unfortunately, if a patient is losing a life, even in spite of our best efforts, it causes such a pain in our hearts. It is like the efforts which we made, whether it is good or bad, but we keep our hope. We always ensure that the patient comes back, recovers back till the last moment of their life. So we never give up. We always still wait till last moment.
Right. Dr. Clara, you're a director who meets, trains, and motivates nurses. How do you address the issue of stress?
So stress is part of our life. As nurses, we always do have stress, and burnouts are very common otherwise also. But pandemic has taught us how to significantly focus on managing stress for nurses. I just simply follow in our organization the Maslow's hierarchy. All that is required for any human being, whether they are nurses or not, the food and the shelter. So these are the two things. So when it comes to food, nutritive food is important. In fact, Gleneagles Global Health City, we have got planned the diet for the nurses with the dietitian, so that the cost effective diet is given to them, which is high in iron, rich in nutrition. We did a survey across all 6 hospitals to identify what are major health problems of the nurses. We have put in a criteria: if the nurses are underweight, if nurses are anemic, if they have comorbidities, they are not permitted to go into COVID area to care for patients. We in fact boost their health condition, and then we ensure that repeated assessments are happening on them. This is related to food. Not only that, during shift time, they have a break. Like nurses, according to Indian Nursing Council, they are supposed to work for 48 hours per week. But we insist that they work for 32 hours. And they have a 3 days of break where they breathe, rest, relax, and then come back. So when they do this, and during the shift, when they get tired, because it's very difficult, I can say, because I have tried the PPE for few hours and few days, and it is very, very difficult. I can empathize with them. So what we did was, the senior leadership team also went on rounds in the initial stages. We were on PPE, and we see that how much of temperature should be there in the ICU and in the ward. And also we ensured that in between, all the CEOs of 6 hospitals, they were just liberal on PPEs for nurses. They said even break, okay, you keep another PPE spare for every nurse. If they want to bio break, for example, if they keep the urine in the bladder for a longer time, they end up with urinary tract infection. So we say, go for a bio break, and then you reuse, you come back, and then you change the PPEs. So this is a greater comfort that the nurses had. Also, we told them in regard to safety, we said that anything happens to you, we are there for you. So when a word comes from a top management that we are there for you, what more the nurses need? Their parents are convinced.
How do you specifically address stress?
Stress. When it comes to stress, like we have psychologists, clinical psychiatrists, where we also took their help. And Glory is our nurse educator, who had also stepped into COVID area and other areas, where all 6 hospital nurses were put on several sessions where they had a free connect with the doctors.
Right.
And we nursing leaders, we have selected few people who have got good counseling capability with the background. I am a good counselor myself. So we keep our phones open anytime. Sometimes I do get in the midnight calls.
Right.
And also what we did was learn from one another. In 2020, when we started, the first hospital that had this COVID crisis was from Hyderabad Continental Hospital. Then we had in Mumbai. So what we did was, like, I was connecting with the nurses and talking to them to understand their psychology, prepared few nurses. So in other hospitals, when the nurses get positive, we connect.
Right.
So connecting with peers is the best methodology. Giving ears by the leaders. Leaders have to give time. It is very difficult off duty. Sometimes my family members will say, always you are on phone. Sometimes I even miss cooking food for my family because I need to give my ears for my nurses. So in the night, my sleep time 8 hours is shrunk to 6 hours, sometimes 4 hours.
Right.
Even last night, I had to be awake till 1 o'clock because I need to call every single nurse who has fallen sick and then to give a motivation. One call, hi, how are you?
Right.
Makes a difference because from top, a call connects with the staff who is at the work level is making a great
That's right.
difference. And we also have, like, if you see in hospitals, we have some mehendi programs and small activities, like she has put on comics
Okay.
and she has done some laughter therapy. So when we do all these for
Right.
nurses, it is something amazing.
Right.
The immediate supervisors, they are my strength
That's right.
because when they step in, then the younger ones
Right.
follow.
Right.
So
right.
we show the way, we walk the
Right,
way,
right.
and we talk the way.
Right.
So that is what we see in the mid-level leaders.
Give us a sense of how the workload for nurses has changed after the pandemic.
Yeah, the workload in sense has drastically increased.
Before and now. Yeah.
Yeah, before, it used to be a comfort zone. Though we nurses' lives are never easy at all at any point of time, being it pandemic or no, it's never easy. But initially, before the pandemic, I think we had a systematic and an organized way of carrying out our routine works at wards or at ICUs. But in pandemic, we don't know what's happening around. We don't know when the patient's going to be sick, when they're going to be okay, or when suddenly what will happen around. We don't know. The patient might look really well, but you don't know when they'll suddenly crash. So that increases the workload or the work pressure on the nurses as well. Instead of a physical work, I would tell it is a mental stress that everybody goes through at this situation. Physical is, we will be able to overcome it at any point of time, but I think the mental turmoil that each nurses have is what we are trying to cope up now.
Right. Do you also live with that fear of getting infected?
Yeah, of course. We are very anxious to handle the COVID patients because we are getting infected means we are staying in hostel. Maybe I am infected, my roommate also getting infected. So if they are getting infected, the workload, maybe if we are infected means they are self-quarantined. They are advised to get self-quarantined. So if in that situation my colleagues are getting more work pressure and they are getting more workload, so we are very worried. And
Give us a sense of life in PPEs, maybe for 8 or 10 hours.
It is difficult actually. Actually, there's different seasons we have in our India. So in the summer it is very hot. Even though we are the AC is on, the PPE, the material is hot. So we have perspire a lot, and we have to walk faster. Shift the patients, move the patients. So all this put effort on us. So being in PPE is difficult. But even though as we have breaks between, and we have extra PPE can change, so you can use that and keep ourselves comfortable. So initially we had during the first waves we had discussions what a PPE the nurses can be comfortable in. So we all tried out how many hours we can have, how many what material goes good for us. So the best one we chose, and the best one is going on now, and we become comfortable in that. Even if it is difficult, we cope up with that.
Is it true people sometimes use diapers to make sure they don't have to go for breaks often?
No, we don't have, because as ma'am said, we have bio breaks between.
Right.
So for nurses who are on menstruation, we don't make them stand in BP for a long time because it's difficult, of course. So we give them bio breaks where they can go to have a break between, or 1 to 2 hours. They can change into another. They can take rest, drink lots of water, keep hydrated, and then go take good rest, distress themselves. And then they can wear new PPE and go inside for taking patient care.
Ma'am, the second wave, how are you preparing for the challenges ahead now?
Yeah. So the preparation for second wave is not now. It was in the past 1.5 months. So
Perhaps for the third wave.
So for the third wave, how are we going to prepare? The greatest thing is the manpower,
Right.
okay, and the material. We have a supply chain system where we have monitoring of every single resources that we use.
Are we overlooking a shortage in that sense?
Yes, all the shortages, and we also look for what is a reserve. So looking what is a reserve and refilling it is most important,
Right.
which is taken care by the supply chain management. We are much aided and supported from IHH, from the group, okay, because we belong to a bigger brand and bigger group. That's one advantage. Between hospitals, there is sharing of resources. That is another added advantage for us. But when come to manpower, of course, that's going to be a great challenge, because I have nurses, those who are getting married, those who are pregnant, those who are delivering, those who are on maternity leave, and some of our nurses are also most wanted abroad. So in that case, what happens is like we have to let them go for better opportunities, because they are well prepared and they have been on great demand.
Right.
So what do we do is we always keep a reserve connecting with few colleges. So we have an MOU, proper formal MOU with colleges, and these colleges, which is coming under the Indian Nursing Council and State Nursing Council. Here in Chennai, it is Tamil Nadu Nurses and
Right,
Midwives
right.
Council, which is a very efficient council, and with their support, we have students coming in for practice. So what do we do is we prepare preceptors with whom the nurses work, the nursing interns work. So they are the stepping hands for us
Right.
as of now, but they do not take care of COVID area or patients totally.
Right.
They just give assistive support to the nurses, so nurses feel that there is some extra hands. But however, there is something called a SUN program, which is the program where we have augmented our training. So this sharpens the nurses,
Right.
and it sharpens the nurses. So efficiency is bringing in.
Right.
A nurse who was normally able to take care of one patient in ICU now is able to take care of 3 patients in ICU. This is because of the technological support and the assistive support that is being given for them. I think this is a good model for us to go forward,
Right.
and this is what is also recommended in the nurses bill, which is getting ready for release. So I feel that way forward, manpower is going to be a crunch,
Right.
and a great challenge is how do we remove non-nursing responsibilities from the nurses.
Right. Last year when the pandemic struck, you had a 1-year-old baby to take care. And
Yes.
how did you manage? How difficult was that?
Yes, it was so difficult because expectation of 1-year-old baby is very high because he just looks up to me. One comfort he has is a mother. So when his mom is not there with him, he misses me a lot, and he longs to see me at the end of the day. So I used to make him sleep and go for work, because when he wakes up, he never leaves me a lot. He hugs my neck and never leaves me at all. But when he sleeps, I can able to go. So I ensure that he sleeps before I leave for work, and then when I come back home, he just runs towards me. But that pain is so much in my heart. But
Couldn't touch him, you couldn't hug him?
no, I can't do that because I might be in my exposed. So I have to tell my family to hold him back, and then clean myself up, take a good bath, and then keep my things clean, sterile, and then only I go and hug him. So that one hug I give him, it is a good comfort for him, and he just never leaves me, and for more than an hour he never leaves my lap. So it is hard and challenge, but my work demands for me to come here because I have to take patients to take care of. And yes, it was so hard. Moreover, I also have elderly parents about 80 years and 64 years old. They get sick more often because elderly parents, they get sick. But initially we had worry that they might also get exposed, but
Right.
I took more efforts that because from from me nobody should get sick. So I took more efforts to keep them safe, and then ensure that they get good food, hot and healthy meal, and then ensure that they are vaccinated. Now they're being vaccinated now, and both my kids they know that I'm come back. Even though today also he woke up early in the morning, I didn't want to leave me, but still I made him. I told him it's okay, Mama. I'll go back and come back home. So once I go home, he'll be logging for me.
Right.
Yes.
Do you get time to watch films, to meet friends? How do you tell us about your social life?
Yeah, it is very affected because before that we are spending a lot of time to the friends, and we are going out, and we are watch movie and all. But in the pandemic situation, as a nurse, we are not getting the time because we are safe. We are saving the patient. We are saving life to the patient. So we are sacrificing that. This in the pandemic situation, we not spending before or we are before spending time
Right.
much more, but nowadays it is getting worried about that.
A lot of people still don't wear masks when they go out. You can see people not following the physical distancing norm. What's your message as a nurse for those people?
I would say that it should be an individual responsibility. We have to protect ourselves and also the
Because
community.
it ultimately adds to the challenges for the frontline workers like you.
So it's all our individual responsibility to take up. Each individual should understand it is important to follow the precautions that we have to follow during the pandemic. Wearing a mask absolutely protects yourself from getting an infection, and it also protects your community, your other person standing next to you, from contracting any disease or infection. You might seems to look really well, but you might be the carrier. You might carry an infection, but you might also spread it to the other person who is not wearing a mask. So you wear a mask, and you also should encourage the person standing next to you to wear a mask. It should be appropriate.
Very briefly, the difference between a nurse like you working in a private corporate hospital and then someone working for a government hospital.
I think the nursing care in this perspective does not change, because both of us give nursing care at the same level. But what changes is the nurse-patient ratio here. In a government setup, a nurse takes care of more than 8 to 10 patients in a hospital. Whereas in a private sector, it demands to be a little more lesser, because they need patients here come with an expectation. Everybody satisfies the patient, but what we see focus here is the delightment of the patient. So that's what we focus here. So the expectation from the patient is much more higher in a private sector than that of the government hospital.
How much the workload has increased before the pandemic and now?
Nurses' workload is never easy at any cost, be it before pandemic or after pandemic. So before pandemic, I think it was an organized setup. You go to a ward, you have something planned, you see the patients take over, then you have an organized way. So this is what we do at this time, this is what we do. So that is organized. But in pandemic situation, I think it was, you don't know, you get many kinds of patient, different kinds of patient, young and old, getting sicker, who are looking well but might turn sick at any point of time. So you'll have to be in tiptoe to find out who's well, who's not well. And now the pandemic has changed what is nurses who have taken care of 1:1 ratio care in the ICU is now capable enough to take care of 1:3 patients also who are critically ill. So I think we are made very strong and efficient to take care of such patients also.
Right. I'm going to ask each of you to give a message to a family member, to a friend, someone who is so dear to you.
Yes, stay home, stay safe and get vaccinated. This message is for my husband because he's unwilling to get vaccinated and he's unwilling to stay at home, wear a mask. So I think this message, strong message is for my husband.
Hope he's watching.
I miss my family, and my family also getting vaccinated very soon.
Okay.
We are safe here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for love and care. This is for my husband and my family.
Okay.
I would like to recollect my dad. My dad is no more, but he wanted me to become a nurse. In 1982, when he brought me to CMC, and I chose to become a nurse. So I remember him now, and I feel that his blessing should go with all of us, so that we are all safe, all the family members are safe, we are together, and have a wonderful year ahead in 2020, and we see a brighter year 2022.
Thank you all very much, COVID warriors battling it from the front line. Hats off to your sacrifice, for your time, and for all the great work you do. Sharon, Sonia, Glory, and Dr. Jyoti, thank you very much. On International Nurses Day, nurses from the Gleneagles Global Health City talking to us. In Chennai with Shah Vijay, Sam Daniel, Find the TV.